their confidence level is growing as their performance does. And but I think this particular group is pretty aware of the fact that that fun, that camaraderie, that all ended at about 10 o'clock Saturday night. And that's the challenge of the season, that you have to recreate that on a weekly basis. It doesn't come back to you. It's not like throwing a ball against the wall and it just bounces back to you. Okay, you got to go recreate it again every week, and there's just so many, there's just that much extra degree that you need that you got to do as a team or as a player, you got to do a lot of things right to win a game. You don't have to do very many things wrong to lose one. You can have a lot of good plays in a game, and you do a few things wrong, and you're going to be in trouble. And same thing with the player's individual game. And if each player understands that, then collectively, that you have a better chance of having a game where you don't do many things that put you in trouble. This is a pretty big challenge for our team. One of the bigger challenges so far this year, because we really haven't handled this type of circumstance very well the last two times we've been out. That is a non-conference game on the road. And so we definitely feel very challenged to prove ourselves under this set of circumstances, and as such, got really good concentration out of the players yesterday towards that objective. I think they're well aware of what's at stake here, and that if we're going to keep this thing going, as we've been fortunate to move on, that there are a number of things that, one, we're aiming to improve at in our own performance, and two, to prepare ourselves from this team that we're playing, that is clearly a different team in the last two games than what it was early in the season, particularly since they've got a pretty dynamic young player having moved in at quarterback. So we're pretty well aware of the circumstances and the challenges that face us, and now we've got to spend the week getting ready for those things. They've got one kid that who's returned 2 kicks for touchdowns in his career. Was an all-conference player last year for them in that respect. So, and they do have a faster team than some of the teams that we've played. So that's across the board. So that'll be a factor. The one running back was a sprint champion in Texas, where they got fast guys. The wide receiver came in second in the state championship in Florida, where they got a lot of fast guys. And the quarterback ran on the state championship 4x100 meters in high school. So wherever they go, I'm sure they can find a fourth guy to go with those three, and they'd probably be pretty competitive. Any college team that wanted to put out a 4x100, any football team that was going to get in a competition with a 4x100 relay team, they got a pretty good head start right there to being as fast as anybody. So, and that doesn't change, no matter whether 100 meters is 100 meters. If you can get to the tape that fast, you're going to be that fast, whether it's in Tennessee or Texas or Montana. So that's 3 guys who could get to the tape pretty fast. And that's why I said earlier, I think that they're going to bring more speed and a more open game than some of the other teams that we've played. So that's a significant challenge for us. Clearly those are the kind of things that get our attention. They can score 42 points on Louisville, and Miami, and what also is very attention-getting, Miami and Maryland both played Florida International. In the whole game, Miami got 23 and Maryland got 29. In the only half that Middle played their first-team players, they got 47 and a half. So if we're to draw some comparisons or some measure of what to expect from that team, that gives us a pretty good idea what they're capable of doing. And as I said earlier, it's all been energized by the presence of this young player. Has brought a whole new dimension into what they're doing. So they're a whole lot different team now than they were earlier. Well, they're a 4-3 team. They certainly, just as the offense certainly shows some foundation in the type of things that West Virginia and some of those teams are doing with their spread offense. Their defense shows a lot of the characteristics of the Florida State and NC State defense when Chuck was there, defensive coordinator. Excuse me, at Middle. Has background at both of those places and in working for Chuck, and he's brought over a lot of the same schemes and the same philosophy. he still has that quick spurt, Jeff. He can kick it down into a necessary extra gear pretty quickly, and that helps him in his releases and getting up into the stem of his route, and helps him with separation after the catch of the ball. That was, another real good play that he made. That was apparent on that early reception that he had over in front of the press box early in the game against Georgia Tech, which he was able to really separate quickly after the catch. Certainly the versatility of his game has expanded significantly. He was, in the earlier seasons, blocked into some very specific roles. Now he's on the line, he's in motion, he's separated from the line. He's an inside receiver, he's an outside receiver, he's a moving blocker, he's a stationary blocker. So fulfills a lot of roles for us, and that enables us, one, to take advantage of him, but also fills in a few blanks for us that we would otherwise have this year. One, it gives us a greater versatility, Jeff, to respond to certain game situations, whether it's from a pass protection standpoint, a lead blocker standpoint, to have the availability of that player. Gives us more options to answer some questions and solve some problems. And it obviously gives us another capable ball carrier there too. So we certainly lacked that circumstance last year, and was very clear to us during the winter that we wanted to avert that situation again, and fortunately we had a very good option available in his circumstance, and we've got quite a few more games to look at with him being able to do that for us.